We are live.
And here I am to worship, here I am to bow.
For this move now, bam! In the name of Jesus, oh, Holy Ghost, fire, 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 fire!
I can't.
Come on, it's offering time. You know what time it is, same time every time during the service. Come on. Today. Pass it down. Pass it down. That way. It's got to go all the way around to the next row. Daquan, get your hand out of that basket. Get your grandson. Put that back. It's going to loan you $1 till after church. So you can put something in. Cash app on your phone? Just cash app it. Yeah, to the church. Can everyone with $100 stand up first, please? $100. 75 if you have 75 over here. 75 with $50 over here. $50. You 25s, all the 25s. You sitting down? 75 if you have 75 over here. 75 with $50 over here.
And here I am to worship, here I am to bow.
That was jamming.
Yes.
To the Lord, He walked it out. Oh, Jesus, if you let Him. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, if you let Him. Oh, Jesus, that pain that would not move, pain in the upper room, that burn that I brought, just wondering how much more. So I gave it over to Jesus. And then I stopped crying about it. I gave it over to the Lord. He worked it out. Yeah, Jesus. If you let Him. Oh, Jesus. Jesus. If you let Him. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, have it that I had. John couldn't seem to pray. I prayed and I prayed. Lord, don't let it be too late. I gave it over to Jesus.
The money out. Sorry, that was just fun for me. That's master race.
She needs to pray for some rhythm.
I know.
I was like, what church is that?
What are they listening to? What are they listening
The
to?
church of no rebel.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Five Black Comics Show. We're here every Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you're out on the West Coast, 2 p.m. Welcome all of our regular panel. Preach.
Hey.
Tanya, who's off in jolly old England with the Queen. She hasn't given the Queen my message yet, but I'm hoping she does before she leaves.
I did. Tally ho.
Kevin Lee.
The King of New York. What's up?
All right. Desi Skywalker.
What do you want to do?
What's up, brother? Today, if you're watching the show, please remember to follow us on YouTube.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. Today's show, we're talking about the most segregated place in America is, believe it or not, every Sunday in the American church. You go to any church in America, I guarantee it's going to be all white or all black. And if it is mixed, it's going to be there are very few churches where it's half and half. But for the most part, America's churches are very heavily segregated, which I don't understand because the God they tell us about is a loving God, right? He loves everybody. We all heard that song, Jesus loves the little children, right? All the children of the world. Red and yellow,
black and white, all the precious
this
things.
is insight. So,
but the part of the song you missed was where they said red, yellow, black, and white over there. Says you gotta separate. You gotta be in your own little.
What'd you say?
Huh?
Yeah, what'd you say?
What did I say?
Go ahead, say it.
I said, I see why you guys do stand-up comedy because singing is not an option.
Although that singing was funny.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a topic that deserves some attention because it is true. We're not making anything up. As we always say on the show, we never lie. You will never hear any lies from us. We just bring the facts every Saturday. And like as usual, we all do our research on each topic. And Kevin's going to tell us what he found on the segregation of America's churches and why it still continues in 2021. And if this Jesus loves all the little children, no matter what color, how come the churches are so heavily segregated?
Well, let me start by saying, as a teenager, I was very much into these so-called TV preachers. This was before the Joel Osteen guys. These was some other guys who were around back in those days who were just TV preachers. And this was before cable, because I'm old as F. So these TV shows used to come on, at 2 a.m. I'm up 2, 3 a.m, and I get in from a comedy club, and the only thing on Channel 4 is some white guy telling me if I send him money, I could be rich, So I sent him money, and it didn't work.
Seed. They call it sowing the seed.
Yes, Billy Graham and all them, right?
But what I didn't notice, this one kid, I can't think of his name right now. I just follow him, this guy, man, so much, and I sent this dude money. I can't think of his name. But what I didn't notice at the time was this congregation was all white. When they did show the views of the camera shots of the audience, a lot of these churches are mega churches. These are big churches. They weren't like 20, 30 people. This is 15,000 people in a church or whatever. And they're all white. And so when we started doing research on this, and we started talking about this, and I've gone to an all-white church, believe it or not. I've been to an all-white church, several of them. And you walk in and you look around and it's like 8 white people I mean, 8 black people, and then the rest, and the other 1,200 are white. You know, it's so. What I'm getting at, basically, is that we have one God. Apparently, if you follow the Christian faith, which most Americans do, because it's a Christian country, apparently, supposed to be anyway. But it's racism runs deep in the church. There was a black preacher who went out, out of Williamsburg, Virginia, who used to consult white churches on racism, like how, you know, his job was to go talk to white people in church on how not to be racist. And he said that mission failed.
Failed.
It failed. Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, he stopped doing it. Here's a black minister going into all white churches, preaching, trying to tell them about racism and why they shouldn't be racist, and it didn't work. So that's scary. I mean, so people that go to church on Sundays and pray to a God, a lot of them are racist, you know. And I don't know how that started, because I remember as a kid watching the 10 Commandments. Every Easter, they put the 10 Commandments on television. And I think Charlton Heston played Moses. He's a white guy, right? Charlton Heston's a white guy. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because it's a whole nother show. But I don't think there was any black people in that you know, movie about the Bible. And so I think that has a lot to do with it, is what I'm getting at. I think that if you do movies about biblical characters and you put an all-white cast in there and don't put any African Americans in there, or people of color, when most likely people from the Bible era, were, you know, people of color, right?
They definitely were.
Considering where they're from. So if you do a movie in this, you know, 70s or something that's real popular, the 10 Commandments, and they show it every Easter. So get a whole generation of people growing up watching the 10 Commandments with Charlton Heston as Moses. And then every Jesus of Nazareth and all those movies that came out always had a white actor playing Jesus, right? So these people they're brainwashed that Jesus and Moses and all these biblical characters are white, right? So here we go. Every African American just about could tell you this. We all had 3 pictures on our walls growing up, most of us. It was Martin Luther King, JFK, and a white Jesus. That was in a lot of homes throughout America growing up. JFK, Dr. King, and the Jesus with the long hair, and you know, the white Jesus portrait. That was on my grandmother's wall, both of them. You know, so
did you ever have the Jesus where the eyes would follow you around the room?
Yeah. That was scary, man. That was scary. When you walk, you move, eyes move. Yeah. You know what's so scary about that? The Jesus picture followed you, but the Dr. King and JFK portrait never followed you. So yeah, man. So I think it was a brainwash thing, Carl. I think Hollywood has helped brainwash generations of people that Jesus was a white man, and that Moses was a white man, and all the other biblical people were white people. And I think that leads to where we're at now. And that's why we're doing this show on the segregation, because on every Sunday, white people go to one church and black people go to another church. You know, you watch these mega TV church preachers now, and they might have a few black people in the band or a few black people in the audience, you know, this Kenneth Copeland guys and some of these other guys. But, you know, that's a rarity. You know, I mean, you got Joel Osteen's church holds like 20,000 people. His church is in a place where the Dallas Mavericks used to play basketball. You know, 20,000 people. So yeah, you got a few brothers sprinkled throughout, you know.
Yeah.
But sprinkled is the word, you know. So it's a rarity that you see, like you said, Carl, you see that mix of congregation 50-50, you know. Yeah. It's usually a white preacher, a white congregation, a black preacher, a black congregation, and you may have a few different people inside. But in most churches in America, and when I travel as a comic, and I'm driving through these rural areas, through the, you know, backwards, and I see the church off in the woods, it scares me.
because you think of
what goes
delivery.
on a Sunday, man. I'm driving through Florida, man. I'm going to this long, skinny road. I don't know why my GPS took me off the highway, but I'm up this long, skinny road, and I just see this white church way off in the long, skinny road, man. I'm going,
yeah.
I don't trust that church. There's something going on in there because I knew. And, you know, the reason I say that because on that same road, I saw Confederate flags in people's yards.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I knew what area I was in. I was in an area where there's Confederate flags in people's yards. Then there's this church. And I go, if I walked in that church on a Sunday and I walked through those doors, man, and just sit down with my Bible, everybody was turning around like Linda Blair, here just twitch like that, looking at me, man. You know? So we got a problem, man. We got a problem, and this show's gonna point it out today. Damn it!
I mean, it's funny. Preach, I'm coming to you next. Like Kevin was saying, white church and black church. I mean, if this God is an all-encompassing God and He loves everyone, why are we still saying white church and black church and Latino? Well, obviously the language, but why do we shouldn't still have to say this is a white church and that's a black church? So what they're saying, we have a racist God, is what they're saying. Is like,
no, that's
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It's people. Not I mean, that's or him or her. But
go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it's a racist God at all, because nowhere in the Bible, you know, does it say Christ came down to save the Roman Catholics that live in the northern part where they're all white. It doesn't say that. You know, if you read the doctrine, or the doctrine that everybody's supposed to be following, you know, it's not about religions. See, people have broken off into factions of religions because it's a personality thing. They don't want to follow, you know, what you're saying. All right, let's say we're 5 black comics. You know, I don't like the way he runs things. I'm gonna start my own 5 black comics, but I'm gonna use the Roman numeral 5 in my black comics, and you know. And then I'm gonna do it my way, and that's how you broke off into different factions of religion. You have the Orthodox Jews, you have regular Jews, you have Greek Orthodox. You know, so how do you keep splitting up? Because people don't want to follow somebody else. They go, well, I think you're doing it wrong. I think it should be done like this. You have Catholic, you have Roman Catholic, you have Presbyterian. You know, like you have all these little different factions of religions, but it should be just as you say. There's one God. And one set of rules is if you follow Christ, and believe in Him, then you're saved. That's the basic that everybody's supposed to be following. But then everybody else divides off in their own little doctrines. Okay, we're going to do this way, or we're going to do this way, and those people are doing that, but we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to do this, and that's how you start the division by in your own church. Like you can't have you're just one group of people. Like you have. Episcopalians, then there's the African Episcopalians, then there's the African, Methodist Episcopalians. It's like, but aren't you all like under the title of Christians? Because that's the broad title. You're Christians. Yeah, but under the title of Christians, you got Catholics, you got Episcopalians, you got Lutherans, you got Methodists, you got Baptists. So it's all split up. And then you go, well, where did it start?
Yeah, Mormons also.
Mormon, you got Mormons who also have a different belief altogether.
Well, they still believe in Jesus, I think, but it's just a different way they believe him.
They don't. I don't know if they see. I can't even say if they consider themselves Christians. Like there's some that consider themselves Christians, and Catholics consider themselves Christians. But then there's Protestants that consider themselves Christians, and they were split up also in the 1500s in England when Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, Martin Luther, the monk, went against the Catholic Church. And they excommunicated him, and they're like, "Nope, you're out." And the fact that a human being, can sit there and go, "Nope, you're out of the church. You're going to hell." How do you say that? You can't determine that.
Hey,
no
preach,
human being can say that.
Let me ask you a question, preach. Have we ever had a black pope?
Yes.
Finally, he's Latino. Is he African or Latino?
No,
the very first pope was black.
I'm talking about a black pope. I ain't talking about Latin.
We have one, I think.
I mean, straight up brother, like us, like straight up brother.
No, they had African.
He's from Africa or somewhere.
Well, if he's African, isn't that black? Wouldn't you consider that black?
I mean, we've had a black pope. We've had a black pope.
Yes, his name is. I thought he was Latino, but he just. I don't know why. I don't know where I got that from. I'd have to look that up. I'm sorry.
I'll get on it. But the first pope was supposed to be black, but he didn't go along with the program, so they were going to kill him.
So they got rid of him quick.
And then even with the Roman Catholic, where it started in England, is why they had the Crusades. Their idea of the Crusades is these are the enemies of Christendom. So they were fighting against Muslim people, and because they didn't believe in Christ, well, we have to conquer you and make you believe what we believe. So they had wars, a 200-year war, fighting, trying to make people believe what you believe.
They're still having it. I won't say where, but
everywhere.
Tanya, I'm gonna go to you next. But is it reasonable to expect people to be racist in their everyday lives, and then on Sundays, once they go to church, assume that they're gonna all of a sudden find this loving God, and you know what I mean? Like, if
when you think of the people that are in charge, like Kenneth Copeland, who was a Trump supporter, and when the election was called, he was the one out there in front of his masses of people, screaming ha 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 ha, because he wouldn't want to believe the election the way it was called, and he was one of the main proponents, getting people to believe that it was a rigged election. But that's not what your job is.
It's too bad they don't have testimony in the white churches like we have in black churches, because we would get up and talk about racism every time we talk at church.
Right. Tanya?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm not shocked by anything that any of the mega churches does, any of the ministers do, any of the priests, if you know what I'm talking about, because we keep forgetting something. The whole premise of religion in America was, for black people, was that you's gonna get your power when you get to heaven. Oh, so just believe in God and everything will be just fine. Be happy just where you're at. So with that in mind, it's like I know, we all know that it is spirituality that brought us through 200 years, how many years it's been since slavery, and through all the atrocities that's happened. So it's very validated that there is something or someone higher than us that has got us through. But we have to also keep in the back of our minds that the slave masters were very religious. They really believed. They went to church every Sunday. Then they'd have a picnic and hang you from a tree. And then I thought Hitler was religious too. So personally speaking, when you tell me that you're religious, it means nothing to me. I need to see your actions is what I need to see. And most of these places now, I see all these ministers and mega churches, they got jets and they got boats and yachts and all this great mega churches, all this stuff. Billions of dollars. And why are there more homeless people in your area? I'm confused. I would think that the whole area would be, if I had a mega church, let's just say in the Bronx in New York City, I'm making that up, right? Everywhere that I lived in that area, there would be no homeless people. There would be no people dying and starving. There wouldn't be, because my area, I'm going to make sure I take care of them because God has blessed me with that much wealth. But that's not how we think. So mega churches for me are not a good thing. Also, have you seen, what's the name of the Christian radio station that I really love? I love it. It's called 103. They changed their letters, so it kind of jacked me up. But it's a religious radio station, and they are banging. They are banging every day. What's it called? Not K. Oh, gosh, I cannot think of the name of it. But you guys know.
G-O-D?
Are you talking about the kind of music they play, or the
well, it's like Maverick City Choir. I was getting to the discrimination part, where I was like, I love all their songs. They're like a pinch of gospel. Like, it's almost like Kurt Franklin meets Hezekiah Walker, but at a pinch of I don't know, just a pinch of Dolly Parton or whoever the rock and roller would be. So you're not sure when you first hear what kind of music it is, but that's what makes it so inviting, because you're like, wow, this is a great song. And then you're like, wait a minute. Oh, I know Maverick City Choir. So that's the only choir that I've seen that's mixed. Everybody, all the other, if you're a radio station that plays gospel, why the hell haven't you played any black music? And black artists, not black music, because it's gospel. So if it's gospel, whoever sings that, I don't really care. But they haven't played not one artist until the other day. They played one of Kirk Franklin's songs that he mixed the choir with. That was the only time I heard a song. But it's, to me, all these people say, oh, I'm God, and I'm, oh, God this, God that. And I'm like, God, please, just give me a break. Y'all give me a break. Y'all not about that life. So anyway, that's my take on. I'm not a big fan of Catholic Church because of that. Also, I mean, how are you gonna be a pope or be a person of major influence in the world talking about you're godly and this and that, and you allow someone to enslave someone else? Even let's forget even that. Let's go bring it right to now. How do you allow people to get shot and not say anything? That goes for black churches too, by the way, because they have their issues too. That's a whole nother issue. That's a whole other show. But I'm not a fan of I became a Quaker, and they're not perfect either. But I just figure, like, I don't want anybody telling me how religious you are, because I don't believe you. I don't believe it. Especially the mega churches. I don't believe nothing they saying. You're making too much money, and there's too many people around you going broke. And while you sit up there in your lavish Learjet, and you can't even take your plane to Hurricane Katrina and drop off some water and some food, I got a problem with that. So that's just me. Just saying.
All right. Desi, you would think the church is the one place where you will find, you know what I mean? You would think that is the one place that you would find love and kindness and happiness, and you can, you know what I mean, for those few hours while you're in church, you think racists are incapable of loving? I'm serious, like, because I do not like hate anyone. You know what I mean? Like, and I've asked this question before. I've met people, and you have to do something to me for me not to like you. If I was a manager in charge of hiring and somebody purple came in for a job, the fact that they're purple would not make me not hire them.
Well, that make him a bank robber when the ink explodes all over him and makes him purple. So you wouldn't want to hire a bank robber because you have those dye packs in it.
We're talking about racism in church, but we know it's in the churches, outside the church, it's in the police departments, in the doctors. We got dentists that are racist. I mean, this racism thing. But I guess we're just talking about this because the one place you would not expect to find it would be in a church.
Right.
You know what I mean? One place you think that people would be okay and welcoming.
And you'd be safe until Dylan Roof backed that up for us.
But there it is, and it's so obvious. It's right there in the church. Like Kevin said, if you walk into an all-white church and sat in the back, the entire church would turn around and probably would not look back at the preacher until he left.
Yeah. And we didn't do that even with Dylan Roof.
Yeah. So anyway, so Desi, your take.
Okay, well, first of all, the one thing that should be a theme in every show is Neely Fuller said, racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works. Until you understand this, everything you think you know will only confuse you. And when we're talking about the difference between white church and black church, there is tons of confusion. This confusion is what caused me to question the whole religious experience at all. We got to think about the story that we're all told, no matter what race you are, is that Jesus was born. At the time, the emperor was killing every firstborn male. When Jesus was born, him and his mother fled to their hometown, their home country, which was Egypt. Egypt is all black. So how did white people all of a sudden make Jesus white? If Jesus is trying to hide and he's the only white guy in Africa, he's going to get killed. He's going to stand out.
Yeah.
My experience, there's a guy I really love. His name is Dr. John Henrik Clarke, and he does a whole thing about racism. He's one of the pillars of the people you should listen to. And basically, when he talks about religion, he says the white man does not use anything. I'm talking religion, gunpowder, if it doesn't involve war and dominating other people. Because we see that black people, Dr. Clarke says black people, we out Muhammad, we out Pope, we out Jesus, everyone, because we truly believe. The European, the people who, I don't say if they believe or not, I just say that their actions don't match what's written in the Bible. And so we have to look at if you're an outside observer and you're not brainwashed by the society we live in, just like you said, Carl, it's a total disconnect. And but the thing that we've found out through studying racism is that the white fragility, which they're fragile, they can't take anything that upsets the cart. If we tell them that Jesus is black, they lose their minds. The only thing that I've experienced is if you ever go to a non-denominational church, that one has a lot of different people, because I went to a Catholic church. My best friend's Catholic. First time in there, the priest says, "God be with you." And the whole congregation at the same time says, "And also with you." And if you're not used to that, when everybody else is talking, I'm freaking out like this is the part where they kill black people. Just don't chant, and the next thing you know, you're on the cross yourself. But what we got to think is this whole religious thing, we have to understand that black people, we had the original God belief in us. We have it on the walls in Egypt. We have the Father, the Son, and the wife. The Europeans came, they saw how we related to God. They took that essence and they wrote the Bible. They had a conference in 325 AD called the Council of Nicaea. And this is where the Emperor Constantine, he was wondering how to propel the Roman Empire, and he knew that he couldn't have enough troops to force everyone to follow the Romans. So he said, "I'm going to enslave their minds." So they had this council. This was made up of all the people that were religious scholars, and the one black person who was supposed to go, his name I'll tell you it. It was he was what do the white supremacists call themselves? Not agnostic.
Nazis.
He was called a Gnostic, which means a knower. He knew everything. And when they convened this council, they took all the different stories that they wanted and made it into the Bible. And they invited this guy because they wanted him to put his stamp on it. It was a black guy. I think it was Arian. His name was Arian. That's why they had Arian. And Arian didn't go because he knew that if he showed up, they were going to kill him, because he was going, "You can't make the Holy Ghost. It's the woman." But the Europeans didn't want women to have any so, and if you look at all the Egyptian religious things, it's always the husband, who's Ra, the wife, who's Isis, so the Greeks call her Isis, and the son, his name was Haru. The son of God, Ra, was Haru. And that's why we say we need a hero, because we're talking about the son of God. And the story has been so changed and so altered that we, if you're black, even if you still go to church, you realize that what we're worshiping and what other people are worshiping, they're disconnected. They're not the same. Like, we really believe. And what we found is Kaba Kamini, he's another religious or another scholar. He said that black people clung to Christianity like a lifeboat in a storm. We had to have this to get us through, and we needed it because it would help us to persevere through all the atrocities we were going through. What we're seeing now is that black people, we're on the land, we're not going through those atrocities, but we're still carrying this lifeboat with us everywhere we go in the form of religion. Because if you look at the stories, it's so incongruous that it's hard to follow. And it's confusion, which is the same way we're ruled. We don't know what's up. We see the angels are white. We see God is white. We see Jesus is white. And we know that that wasn't true because, like John Henry Clark said, was Jesus a Roman? No. Was Jesus a Greek? No. Those were the only European, and they were considered mulattoes, that was in the area at the time. So when you go to a church, and even my father's church, I go in and there's a white Jesus, all black congregation, and they got a white Jesus on the wall. And I just look at it and kind of like giggle to myself because they've been so corrupted, they don't even realize it enough to put a white Jesus on the wall.
Yes.
Yeah. I have to, one thing you said that we're not in disarray, or I forget what your exact word is, but I think they still are. We still are in disarray, and they still are in the midst of confusion and going through a whole lot of stuff. So yeah, that part hasn't changed.
Right. What I was saying is that even if you go to church or you don't go to church, you still acknowledge that there's a higher power. You still know that there is something that we call a higher power or the universal God, and we believe that. My own opinion is that the European believes that they are God on earth and they don't answer to anyone.
Yep.
And you can look at the things they do, the way they talk and the way they act, that shows that that's how they believe. But I'm saying, like, you might not go to church. I might be in church every Sunday, but me and you can look at each other and we both know that, when a bullet sprayed over our heads and we both lived, we look at each other and say, that was God protecting us. And that's what I mean. We're together on that.
Yes, which also can be explained why we don't do all the atrocities that other people do to us, and we don't usually co-sign on them either. We are like such a what's the word, resilient group of people. When I think of everything done and how religion was used to hold us, because like you said, I mean, we know that there's something better than us. It may not be called this or look like that, but we already know, because we wouldn't be here having this conversation if there wasn't, right? But we held on to that so long from the slave master's perspective, not from our true self, our true spiritual self of, I know I'm going to get through this. I'm going to make it. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
a different thing than this man right here, the Pope, or who, a lot of people put all this faith in these people. And I know they love their Pope. You can love your Pope all you want to. You love your nuns and your, whoever, your rosary beads, whatever it is, everybody, just every religion has something, right? But they forgot the spirituality piece, in my opinion. And that is the only piece that matters, because even in the Bible, I was reading some stuff on King James and I was like, oh, no wonder some people don't want this version of the Bible, because he was not a nice dude. If you look him up.
And that goes back to, you're right on it, Tanya, and that the European took all these stories and they first created Christianity. And then King James on the Church of England, which was the next great empire, they wrote their own version and they corrupted it even further.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
if you look at the Bible, they don't tell you this. Even when you were black and you were a slave and they gave you a Bible, they took out the Old Testament.
That's right.
And they took out the parts about the Exodus where you get escaped. And in the Old Testament, I think it's Corinthians 12:16. They'll tell you, wait. I got it there. I got it mixed up. Anyway, in the Old Testament, I got it written here somewhere. Galatians 4:21 will tell you that this is all metaphor and allegory, which means these are all stories meant to teach you how to live righteously, but they're not to be taken literally. Because if anyone on this panel tells me that they believe a snake came down the tree and was talking to people, then I'm going to question you.
Depends what you smoking that day, bro.
Or what about Adam and Eve? What about Adam and Eve? That it took a woman to tell you that to wake up and realize that you was naked and it was a fine woman standing next to you?
And no one talked about Esther. See, this one guy who was the Aryan was his name. He was the first black guy. He knew a lot of the stories. There was someone before Eve. Her name was Esther, but she was strong-willed and strong-minded. So in the Bible, when the Council of Nicaea came in 325, they took out Esther. They made a woman named Eve who was submissive and all passive.
Because if Adam and Eve were white, how do you get black people from two white people?
Right.
Well, that's what caused me to really start questioning the whole story, because it was a lot of things just don't add up.
I'm just about to say that, Desi, if you're quoting a lot of the Bible, especially the King James version anyway, I was like, I don't believe any of it at this point in my life, And
like the flood, the flood came and supposedly destroyed the entire world except for Noah and his family. Was this before Adam and Eve? Was it after Jesus was born? Was it
way after? Way after.
And you got to consider this. A lot of white people, specifically the Mormons, they treat black people bad because they believe that Ham was cursed Ham was a son of Noah, and he saw Noah naked and sodomized him. And they said Noah cursed him, and he cursed him to be black. So that's why the Mormons believe that all black people are cursed. And not only that, but Ham was not black; he was Caucasian, according to them. So the stories just don't add up. Logically, if you question things, you'll understand the stories don't add up. So it's supposed to be allegory and metaphor.
Let me put the final touches on this. After 4 years of white evangelical supporting Donald Trump, that was a final straw for me.
That's all you need to know.
You know what I'm saying? That was it right there. That these people, by millions of them, stood behind Donald Trump no matter what he did. And it was all because he supported white supremacy, which runs rabbit through
they call Trump their savior.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I heard people he's the one. He's the chosen one. I was like,
he is the chosen one. He was sent here to make them feel good about their racism, and that's what he did for 4 years, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Started out.
Did you see how they got emboldened?
Before he became president, he was picking on Obama, right? So it's been 5 years of him basically saving the white race. But getting to real quickly, I just want to say that during slavery, Sundays were the only time black people had some time to themselves to get away. You know, the slave masters were generous enough to let them go into a church, I guess, and sang hymns or whatever. So a lot of that, you know, black people went into that church thing on Sundays and sung or whatever. I mean, made their own church, I guess, and sang their songs. And that's what got them through. Belief, you know, the belief of a Jesus or whatever is what got, and that's why we still hear it in today's music. Even the clip, even the 2 songs that we played at the beginning of the show. All, you know, you ever notice all gospel songs sung by African Americans all have the same theme? It is Jesus is on the way. Jesus is going to help us. I want to hear a song saying I've been helped. You know, not help is on the way.
Yeah.
I want to hear somebody say,
I know, you're right,
I've been helped. You know, that's all. Help on the way. Every gospel song is help is on the way. Help is on the way. Help is on the way. No.
Jesus just took an Uber.
I thought my father's a deacon in church. He's the head deacon. And I thought his head was going to explode one day because he's always hounding me about going to church. And I said, Dad, I don't have to go to church. And my father's from Trinidad. What do you mean you don't have to go to church? I said, the Apostle Paul wrote that as long as you accept Jesus as your savior, you get to go to heaven. So where's church required? All you got to do is accept Jesus.
Right.
He's still, and that's why I said the stories don't line up. The stories are ruined and confusing.
Yeah, and they actually, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, and just reading about slavery and stuff like that, the churches was kind of a way to keep all the Negroes together and know who's plotting and planning what. So they usually have to have the head minister would be the one to keep them in line. So that's another part. That's a whole nother show. But they would have the minister, like now, if you look at politics, okay, what do they do when they need you to do something? I mean, they even
cut out the ministers
for anything, for the shootings to calm down. Oh, don't do this to the store. Don't do that. We want peace.
Actually, that's in history. That's in history where Nat Turner, and we hear about the great slave revolt of Nat Turner. Nat Turner was one of the African Americans that his masters taught him to read, and they taught him by using the Bible. So they would send him around to other plantations to preach to the other people to get them to calm down about what was going on in the plantations. And he saw so many atrocities going on that suddenly he became like so enraged, like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep telling people, oh, just be relaxed and wait for Jesus and stuff. When I see you breaking people's teeth to force feed them because they're on a hunger strike, or whipping them or raping them. He saw it all because he went from plantation to plantation.
All right, let me read a couple of comments here. We got a question. Gina Fiore, our super number one. Hey, Gina. She said, I've noticed that Black families and Hispanic families are truly God-fearing humans, and they walk the walk being real Christian. They walk the walk being real. Christians are not hypocritical like Roman Catholics or born again Christian people who are so critical of others, judgmental. This is what I was saying. Like, if you're in church and you're serving this God who's all loving and who loves everyone, but still you're gonna go look at that nigga. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
But
And
you're
Carl, the other thing too that Gina said is that the Christian religion has about the same dates for the holidays as the pagan religions, and that's because when they were trying to create Christianity, paganism was rampant in the Europeans, and they wasn't going to give it up. So all they did was switch. Like, we have Easter, and Easter we have a bunny. Because the pagans used to have that as their big sex ritual. So
Yes.
bunnies multiply. So everything that we use as a symbol for Christianity, not everything, but a lot of the things have been co-opted from the pagan religion.
Which is crazy.
It's just like Jesus was born in the spring, but according to them, his birthday is December 25th, which happens to coincide with the solstice when the sun lasts the longest in the winter.
Okay, I'll bring something up. Since we're having this conversation, and I think we discussed this in our meetings also. Since we might as well bring this up. The church on Sundays is the most segregated place in America. The second most segregated place in America is what? Funeral homes.
Yeah.
In cemeteries,
Yeah.
especially funeral homes.
Who would
Like,
think?
there are black funeral homes, there are white funeral homes. I mean, if I die today, I'll probably take it to to a hospital first or whatever. When my family call the cemetery people, the funeral home to come get me, they're gonna go and call up a funeral home to pick up that deal with black bodies, you know.
Yep.
And black men are gonna come in suits.
You know what's funny?
A lot of makeup and pick my ass up.
I just bought a car, and I specifically was looking for a black dealership, and I couldn't find one, and I specifically sought out a black salesman.
Right.
I did. I mean, I went to all the car dealership sites, and I looked at all the staff members, and I went down and down and down until I found. I said, I can't find someone that owns a dealership. So at least I can do is give this brother or sister, whoever it was.
So is that keeping? Let me ask you a question.
You talked about it.
So is that keeping money in the so-called black community, or because white people say that's racist?
That's what I was just about to ask. Am I being racist? I was about to ask that question.
Well, let me just say this: when we talk about the black funeral, so my wife is European now, and when my mom passed away, her family came to my mom's funeral, and I was very grateful to see them there. But after the funeral was over, my wife's aunt was like, if I ever die, I want my funeral in this church because it's a party. Like, we're celebrating the passing over. We have music, we have comedians. People are celebrating. They're sad they'll miss the person, but we're having joy. And it's not what a white funeral.
I mean, we sit here and we talk about racism and white people and stuff, but I don't think we have to say it, but we all know white people who are very open-minded.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like right now, Jess Miller. I love you, Jess. Jess is like a super. I would bet you, Jess. Kevin, you know Jess
very well. She's my friend. Hey,
I
Jess.
guarantee you, if I would put my net to the block that Jess Miller doesn't have a racist, as they say, bone in her body. You know what I mean? I've been around.
I'm with you on that one, brother.
You know what I mean? So there are people, you know, like that, white people like that, that are out there. That we all. Tanya has friends like that.
My grandpa. Hello, some of my family members.
Yeah.
Yes. You too. You probably got them too.
Yes. You know what I mean? We all have friends like that. And I asked
I had friends like that until Trump came president.
Yeah.
Friends and family.
I thought they were like.
You thought they were friends. You thought they were friends.
Family members on that one.
Yeah, Jess Miller's the last one standing.
Let me read another statement. I think Travis Wortham. What's up, Travis? Travis said apparently Travis's Wi-Fi is working today. Historically, for blacks, the church was a haven of protection. For most white churches, it was the one place the whites made taboo for blacks to be in. No such thing as worshiping together. Yeah, we could eventually go to work and school, but not church.
Yep,
You know?
because we would
That's
plan
true.
how to escape. That's why you started singing the gospel songs, because you planned to escape through the song. Go down south and go, all the go by the
Wade in
tree.
the water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that too. A lot of that was cold. Yeah, it was cold.
Karen Francis has a question for the panel. Karen asks, does it really matter what shade or race Jesus is? I say yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it does.
Yes, because if you're trying to trick me and tell me one thing and it's really not, why did you have to trick me?
Yeah.
Not you. In general, like, why do you have to make it up if that wasn't what it was? Why did you just say,
I think America should come clean on everything. I mean, we
Yep.
should know that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America because people were already
Yep.
here.
Right.
He
Yep.
came here and he
he
killed
stumbled
people.
on it drunk?
He's a murdering pig, and he shouldn't be
Yep.
celebrated.
Yep. Nope.
On America's angry as hell at O.J. Simpson right now, but they love Christopher. We celebrated Christopher Columbus, who killed thousands and thousands
Raped and slaughtered, yep.
raped and
My
slaughtered
ancestors,
people.
yep.
So I think America needs to come clean. I mean,
They need
if
to.
Jesus come from a place where people have skin like myself or Carl or Preach or Tanya or Desi, then it should be let out that Jesus was
Well,
a
we
brown
already
skin
know
person.
from drawings.
If Jesus was a brown skinned person, a lot of these racist evangelical Christians that go into these churches and praise Jesus and secretly hoard hate in their heart, towards people like us, what would they do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, they run away.
It's so obvious that Mel Gibson was a dyed-in-the-wool racist. Tapes were released of him using all kind of racist language. He said that he authenticated Passion of the Christ. He had them talking in Aramaic, and then he has like this European playing Jesus. So you can tell that they still have an agenda, no matter how much they pretend to be authentic.
Well, in that movie, I'm glad he didn't have a black man playing it, because if you ever saw that movie, it was the most graphic, horrific description of what this story was and what happened to Jesus.
It was a good movie. I actually enjoyed it.
It was a
pretty
great
graphic.
movie, but it was so graphic that it showed you how barbaric the Romans and all those people were. And that's why it's like, if you watch it, you'll be like, nothing shocks me that you shoot me in the back with no hands, because look what they did before. They would beat me with a club with nails on it. So, like,
That's the same thing when you talk about slavery. When you see the Passion of the Christ and how brutal and how that was, that's still watered down. Just like when they show slavery, when they show if you watched the one with Jamie Foxx, the slave movie that Jamie Foxx was in, Django, where they let loose dogs and tore a man apart. Okay, that was watered down. Where they would tie slaves to the ground and whip them. That was watered down. Where they raped women, that's watered down. See, so they're showing a piece of it, and people are like, "Oh my God, that's too graphic." Well, think about what we actually went through as people that had that done to them. It was way more graphic when it's being done to you.
Yep. All in the name of Jesus.
Well, I never seen Preach this heated.
You know what we should do, guys? I think we should.
Got my dander up.
Now this pandemic's coming to an end. I think we should all
keep
get
it clean. We don't see your dander getting up.
I think we all get go to a white church and walk in one Sunday.
Oh, I think we should.
We should go together with cameras on us.
Yeah, all 5 of us should walk to a white church.
With cameras.
With hoodies on.
That would be hilarious. Oh, I already know what looks I would get. Forget about it. My foster mom was a preacher, and I used to go with her when she had to go down south to preach or wherever. And we would pass them long things, Kevin, the mega churches, as you're going down south, you're driving, get to the Mason-Dixon line, wherever you go. And I'd be like, Mama, look at those churches. And she was like, we're not going to them ones. I was like, why not? Isn't the Lord there? She was like, well, now when I got older, I was like, no wonder she never, because I was like, why don't you stop at this church and preach? And she was like, no, we're going to keep driving through. I was like, why? It's only Georgia or Alabama or wherever. So
I'm going to read a couple of stories that I can't believe. And this one is recent. There's a town in Minnesota, a small town in Minnesota called Murdoch, Minnesota. And
heard about that.
You heard about that?
Yeah, go ahead, keep going.
The Astora Folk Assembly, did I say that right? Astora Folk Assembly applied for a permit for a white church only.
All white church.
All white church. They wanted to have, and they got it.
Right.
And the reason they got it, the city leader said, if they had turned it down, they would face an expensive legal battle. So that's why they gave in to the ask.
But what about the discrimination and you're not supposed to discriminate? What happened to that?
Yeah, well, I guess that they're way the
churches. I want to go just for the heck of it now.
There's a separation between church and state. So they're saying, oh, well, we can't impose state rules on a religious institution because that's separate from church and state. So they can do their religion the way they want to.
That doesn't make sense.
You're going into a building to praise a God who loves everyone.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody is the devil, personalized devil.
And that circles back to what I was saying is that we worship and we think that God loves everyone. The European thinks that God loves only them. The European, the theme, not everyone, but that's the underlying theme. And they think that they are God representative on earth.
Yes, that's why they have to own everything, and they have to be, what are you doing here? Let's change this up. Oh, you're doing that? No, let's change it to this.
Everything they use is for domination. I mean, like the Chinese had gunpowder for fireworks, and the Europeans said, I wonder how I could use this, and made the weapons. Everything that the European touches, they use it for warfare.
Yeah.
Now, here's another one. This one floored me. This one was a couple of years ago. But there's a black woman. Her name was Juliet Stair. She was dying of lymphoma. And she told her brother Paul she wanted to be buried like Jesus, following Jewish customs. So she got a plot. Even though she's a black Christian, she chose a plot in a quiet town Jewish cemetery. She thought it would be a peaceful place, their brother Paul said. So he buried her in this plot. And he was happy. Everybody, the whole family was happy. But then comes Maria Balaban, Balaban. I guess that's how I pronounce the name. She's the board member for the Jewish Society or whatever it is in Colchester, and she wants the body exhumed because Juliet did not. She did not. How you say? Become
not converted. She's not converted
in time. She said it had nothing to. She's not racist, and she's not racist. She said she just wants the body exhumed and have her buried somewhere else.
Well, I believe that because
she's not racist.
Yeah, but I, and that's a little tricky because I know in Judaism, and you can testify to this. I know for a fact in Judaism there are certain rules, and if you don't follow, like one of my cousins, when I go to his house, they're Orthodox. I can't even go to their refrigerator and touch it, like literally. And so I know it's not, he ain't being racist to me, but that's a part of the custom. So one of the things is in some of the cemeteries, I'm not synagogue, what do you call them? Whatever you call them.
Yeah,
you can't be a Christian and be buried. It's not, you can't do it. So that I wouldn't quite call racist only because now had she been converted and they said that, I'd be like, oh, that's clear racist. And it probably is, but I know that is a thing that you have to honor for some other religious entity reason.
So like the Italians, when you're a made man in the mafia, like
exactly, you never get out.
You can't, yeah.
Des, do you have any comment on that?
Oh,
like what, the tradition or like what's allowed?
On the burial tradition specific, because I remember something happened with somebody, one of my friends, and I had asked something. So that's where I learned that little fact. It may not be for everything, but I know for certain places, yeah, you got, and I mean, even though there's some things that are not totally followed, like you're not supposed to have a tattoo, but I'm sure I know plenty of my Jewish friends have tattoos. So
yeah, no, I don't know all the rules. I know like something that's kosher, they're not supposed to have like a cheeseburger because you're not supposed to have dairy and meat together.
Well, that law is broken by a lot of people right now.
Well, it depends on whether you're Orthodox or not. See, some of them are really Orthodox and are strict and stick to that. Like if you look at a lot of the Hasidic Jews in New York, the ones that walk around with the black hats and the curls and stuff, so they're more strict about their beliefs and what they can and cannot do.
I'm gonna push back on that a little. What Tanya said about going to the house and not being able to touch the fridge because you're not Jewish or whatever. I still think you have to be a human being because there's stories in New York where the ambulance shows up it's
Yes.
a Jewish ambulance, and they pick up the Jewish person and leave the person who's not Jewish.
That little boy died because of that.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah, right. So at some point, I don't care what kind of religion you have, you still got to think, I'm a human being. This is a human being. You know what I mean? The person is dead and in the ground. And I understand what you're saying. So I think there's still something racial attached to it.
Of course. Just
Yeah.
like the Ethiopian. I mean, look what's happened to them. They only let 25,000 in Israel at one point. Now there's more, but they only let 25,000. I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm Jewish and you're Jewish, why do we only let 25,000 of us in? So that's an example of, no, we should just be, because this is what God wants. And this is the way to be.
I mean, but to go to court, you take it to court to have the woman exhumed, you know what I mean? Like
crazy.
The body. Yeah.
Yeah, like the other dead people in the ground already are gonna sit there and complain. It's like, what is this schmuck? I feel something next to me. My bones aren't sitting right.
My sister's church was mostly white, and the minister was always praying for Trump, and they were all going crazy over Trump. And so my sister had to leave because you can't separate Trump from racism. Trump equals racism. So if you support him, you know that they support racism.
Exactly.
It's simple.
Yeah. A lot of
Can I
people.
ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Kev.
The Dylan Roof thing is just on my mind at the moment. I was just thinking how those black people souls brought Dylan Roof in and prayed for him. And we're just, they prayed for him. A white kid. They brought him in, they were praying for him, and he turned on them and killed them, executed them. But I don't think that would ever happen the other way around. I don't know if a black guy can walk into a white church like that and be prayed for. I don't think so. And then I definitely don't think, a black guy would do what Dylan Roof did. There's no history of it that I know of, or where some black guy went into a church and executed, and just killed white Christians, just a black guy walking to a Christian church and kill black Christians.
The black people are
huh?
I'm sorry, I didn't cut you. Did I cut you off?
I'm just saying that was on my mind because I was getting back to the racism in the church. I was just thinking about that, how they took this kid in out off the street, just came in
with a backpack
and brought him in there, and they prayed for him and laid hands on him, and then he killed him.
Right, because we're taught as Christians, we're supposed to not see color. We're supposed to welcome everybody in. We see this guy as a sheep that is lost, and he's come to the flock, and he needs to be shown the love that God would show us, and we need to accept him in. And we continuously fail to understand how devious and how devilish some people that we come in contact can be. Because even if I wanted to kill everybody, I couldn't do it in church, because a church is supposed to be a sanctuary.
Right.
And
right.
So,
But that's the point I was trying to make, bro. That's it.
And they don't
shows the level of hatred he went into that church with.
Yep.
There was nothing.
No, I think he knew that we were suckers and that we believe like, oh, this is God's place, so nothing's gonna happen here, because that's what we're just a loving people, and we're trusting of everybody and everything. And even with all the shootings going on, the last place anyone, including myself, would suspect that to happen was the church, and he was exactly right.
Carl,
and then just to put our people up on a pedestal a little bit more, because that's what I like to do.
Okay.
I hope nobody's offended by this, but I like to put us up. The next day on television, those families said they forgive Dylan Roof.
I know.
That was crazy. So there you go.
But that's because black people, because this whole religion thing, they tell us, our earthly possessions mean nothing.
For your healing.
Once we get to heaven, that's where all rewards would be.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Your golden pearly gates.
Yeah. You know what I mean? The meek shall inherit the earth, meaning that if you're poor and destitute, don't worry, God loves you. God hates the rich. So we have that mindset.
And
Kenneth Copeland doesn't have that mindset. He's worth $760 million, by the way.
What about Paula White? Paula White, who loves Donald Trump, by the way. Oh, she's his type, by the way. I'm just saying.
And Paula White's church is about 70% African American. And
I
so
know there's always a sucker in the crowd. Trust me.
those people who still supported Paula White,
Mhm.
that's from the indoctrination of church. And I'm seeing here, Karen Francis said, most blacks have a certain respect for the church, regardless of religion or belief. And that's true. Like when I go to church, if it's a Catholic church, I'm shocked at what they wear to church, because we were conditioned that you put on your best. They call it the Sunday best, because you're communing with other Christians to talk to God. You're supposed to do the best you can.
But that's in general, though, Des. It's not just church. Anywhere black people go, we have to dress our best, speak our best. Dude, I went to buy a car and I made sure I didn't go in looking like you know what I mean? Why couldn't I just wear shorts and flip flop? But I wanted to go in. I wanted to go in and have this guy not think I'm some kind of that I'm educated. You know what I mean? I wanted to present an image. And I'm even as I'm getting dressed, I'm like, why am I putting on this dress shirt?
Exactly. I'm not clowning to you.
I did the same thing, Carl. I performed on a
that.
cruise last week, on a 2-day cruise last week down in Maryland. So Eastern Shore, beautiful place. I actually didn't want to get dressed. I left my hotel to get on the cruise. I just be at the cruise dock at 7 to board the ship. I wanted to wear my suit. When I get on the ship, they give me a stateroom where I go to. I got my own room and everything. I can go in there and get dressed in my suit. But I knew I had to show up in a suit. I couldn't just show up in jeans and a t-shirt and some shorts or just be chilled. I had to show up in a suit to put on my suit. You know what I'm saying? Because I just couldn't. I wanted to just wear some khaki shorts and some, like you said, some flip-flops and a baseball cap and board the ship, and then then go to my room and then get dressed for the show. Take a shower, get dressed for the show. But I couldn't do that. I had to leave my hotel, go to the dock in a suit, get on the ship to go put on my suit that I'm wearing on the show.
You try to tone down your blackness. That's what you know what I mean? I'm trying to I'm hoping.
And see, I stopped doing that.
We don't have that luxury, man. We don't have that luxury.
If it's a job interview, you do that. But I decided, you know what? If I'm going to buy this car, or I'm going to buy this nice whatever I'm going to buy, my best revenge is when you do treat me funny and shady. I will let you know and show you what you just missed. I'm all the Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. That's me.
We're always being watched, Tanya. We're always being judged and watched,
I don't care anymore.
I mean, even as I told you guys, I got pulled over by a cop at 2:30 in the morning last week. I decided to leave my hotel and drive back to New York. I didn't want to sleep in a hotel. I was like, I'm going home. It's 2:30 in the morning. Show's over. I'm going home. I get in my car, start driving, get pulled over by a cop. It was my fault I got pulled over, by the way. I was swerving, and not because I was tired. I was reaching for something, and went across the yellow line. Cop behind pulls me over. But I was dressed. I would love to have just put on some shorts and a t-shirt and be comfortable in my car driving back to New York, but I had to be dressed driving back, because I knew at 2:30 in the morning, if I get pulled over when that cop walks into the car, my appearance just might save my life. Everything helps. So when that guy walks into my car, first thing he said out of his mouth was, he didn't even ask me, before he asked me my license registration, he goes, "What year is this car?" I swear to God. First thing he said, "What year is this car?"
Sure you didn't take it.
I can totally relate. I switched. I drive I used to drive a Mercedes E350. And that was because when I had a Honda Civic, I would get out of comedy shows at 2 a.m. and I got pulled over every show. So I said, in order to end the round, I got a Mercedes. I didn't care if I could afford it or not. I just didn't want to be profiled that way.
Yeah.
Imagine
that, man. Yeah.
I used to have my hair like Preach, and I cut my hair. I literally cut my hair because I got tired of being pulled over. I got tired of being pulled out of line when I'm traveling. You know what I mean? Every time I would travel, I got pulled out of the line and my bags were searched. And ever since I've cut my hair, I have not one time I've been pulled over. And this is probably 15 years ago.
Do you use the white voice too? Hey, officer, I don't know.
When I'm ordering takeout, I use my white voice.
Right, because you're afraid to spit their food if they know you're black.
Exactly. I use my white voice.
Or worse, in a place in Brooklyn, they did worse than that. I'm not gonna say what they did, but You don't want to know.
You can't be too careful because sometimes they stop you before that happens. Before I had dreads, I got pulled over in customs. Actually, when I went to Barbados, and I was carrying a bag for Carl's sister, right? And like I get to the customs desk, the guy asked me, he goes, "What you got in there?" I go, "Some cameras, clothes and stuff." So I was going to take pictures at his wedding, and the guy opens my bag and he starts going through it. His sister had packed her lingerie, her high heel shoes and stuff in the bag.
It's like they look at you. What?
Yeah, and he like mixes that around, and then he just closes the bag and goes, "Yeah, you can just go."
These little girls are yours, really? Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you a funny story real quickly? I got off a cruise ship. I'm performing on Carnival Cruise, and I get off the cruise in Jamaica to fly back. I cruised from Miami to Jamaica on the cruise. When I got to Jamaica, I was to get off the ship and go to the airport and fly back to the States. I'm not going back on the ship. So that's how Carnival would work sometimes. So anyway, going through customs in Jamaica, they saw my machetes and they wanted, what is this? I'm a professional juggler. They made me juggle my machetes in the customs in front of everybody. So I'm there juggling the knives.
Hey man, him juggle them machete, man. Go ahead, man.
I get in the cab to go to the airport. Before I even got out the airport, I see some guy on the side of the road with a giant machete chopping the head off of coconuts.
Yeah.
Y'all made me juggle machetes. Just when this guy's out here cutting coconuts with machetes.
I got pulled over one time at 2 a.m, and I told him I was a comedian coming from a show, and he was like, "All right, well, tell me a joke."
Oh, I hate that.
I was so nervous. I told him the lamest joke, but I was like, "It's funnier on stage."
Well, I did tell the cop when I got pulled over last week. I told him I was a comedian coming from a show, and I named the town. I told him I just got off a cruise and everything, and I told him the town, Chrisville, Maryland, which he knew very well because it wasn't too far from where I was pulled over. And he says, "Can I see you on YouTube?" And I said, "Yeah, Google comedian Kevin Lee, and I'll pop up." I don't even think the cat ran my name because usually when he runs somebody's name, it take a while. He went back to his car and came back within like 40 seconds and gave my license and told me, "Be careful." So I don't even think he ran my name or anything,
Yeah, he just looked at your
Probably
video.
Googled you, and since you told the truth, that was the first.
Yeah, he might have punched up on the computer Kevin Lee comedian or whatever and see it popped up or whatever. Like I said, and I was dressed in a suit, and I'm driving a nice car. So, and he didn't smell any alcohol, nothing like that. So, and I didn't have hair like Carl used to have. So I was good. I had preacher's wig.
Yeah.
I'd be still on the side of the road.
Karen Francis says something else. I'll read this before we go. She said, "Hey, 3 little white girls climbed my fence and were swimming in my pool on Thursday. My husband showed them out the gate. Today they came and rang the doorbell that they're hot. I went to their house and the little girl answered the door and asked why I wanted to speak to her mom. She told me the mom was busy. I said, okay, talk to the police, then came out and seemed annoyed."
Wow.
Who?
Yeah, see, they tried to do things the right way because if one of them girls had drowned in their pool, guess who's getting sued?
Yep.
See,
And
the mother would be
they
over
were
there,
entitled to
you
use
let
your
my
pool.
daughter in your pool and she died. See, but if you try to talk to the mother so I can get permission and have all the proper things in
Sign
place,
this waiver,
my mother's
please.
too busy.
Yeah, so Karen was probably going to call the cops on those little white girls. 3 little black guys swimming in a pool. That pool would probably be all red.
That would not end well.
No, that would not. Karen said exactly. She's going to, call the cops.
Well, they think black people can't swim, and I can attest to that because we used to have races swimming, and they would always pick me last because I was black. I was first picked for basketball, even though I'm only 5'6".
They didn't know you knew how to butterfly. What?
Yeah, I told you guys when I went to a white friends who were having a pool party. So when I got to the party, I dove in the pool, swam like 2 or 3 laps, right? Then dove down again, came up. And when I came up, every single white person. I think they call them neighbors. Every single white person was just standing there looking at me. I'm looking around like, what? Am I not supposed to be in the pool? Like, I mean,
Oh, what about
When you
being a
dove in,
black
when you
woman?
dove in,
They
your
tell
shorts came off. That's why they were shocked.
What about when you're a black woman? They tell you, I had a lady once tell me, oh, you don't swim because your hair. And I was like, girl, I get to do that. We'll get in this water because I am in the Mediterranean. You think I'm not swimming? What? We ain't foolish now. Now, pool, I don't like chlorine water, but we do swim. They don't. I've gotten plenty of slack. I was on the swim team. I'm a black girl who's on the swim team. Hello. That's a problem.
Have anybody on this panel been to like an all-white church?
Yes.
Just curious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So about, yeah.
Yes, I have a couple of times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it is weird. I just so happen to have known most of the Congress, a lot
It's
of the
weird because you get out of
But
church in like an hour. The black church is like
Right.
4
That
hours
too.
long. Man. You're in church all day.
Well, I'm a
You can't
person.
blame us.
Actually, it depends on the black church you go to. Because if you go to one that has multiple services and you go to the early service, they got to get you out because they got another service coming in.
What about being a preacher's daughter? Do you know how much I went to church? I went to Wednesday. I went to Bible study. I went to choir rehearsal. I went to what's the other usher meeting, whatever the usher
Bible
meeting.
study.
Bible study. I
Every
mean,
night of the week is something. It's Bible
Pretty
study.
much.
It's usher board. Yep.
I used to be so happy when Friday would come. I'm like, praise God, I don't got nothing to do.
I practically grew up almost a preacher's kid. My parents were very religious, and luckily I was able to get away with a lot of being what they would call sassy. And whenever the pastor would say, "I'm about to wrap up," I'd be like, "Oh boy, another half hour."
I know that's right. I know my mom's the only preacher I know that when she said, and as I close,
In
it was
conclusion,
like,
yeah.
okay, we got about 1 minute left. But everybody else would be like, as I close, you'd be like, 2 hours later.
Yeah.
When are you gonna close?
like Karen Francis said, she would definitely call the cops on those white kids because she said they would call the cops on her kids if her kids went over and jumped in their pool.
Well, it's more for the principle, like Preach said, that if they was to drown, guess who they come, or anything happened, I got liability. So that's why, if I had to, that's why I would do it. But
But we
just
know,
to let them know.
what would happen if a white person looked outside and saw 3 black kids in their pool.
Oh, you know what happened.
You all saw the
They
video
drained
where
the pool.
they handcuff an 8
They drained that sucker.
They drained the pool.
I have to bring back what's his name?
They
Mr.
do a
Rogers.
Dorothy Dandridge. It was Dorothy Dandridge who
Tell
stuck
that
her
story.
toe in the pool and they drained the pool.
You know,
Well,
she put
Not only that, but in the South, when they said that segregation is over and it's integration, instead of having the pool in the town, a municipal pool, they just covered it in dirt and said, nobody's swimming here.
the same thing happened to Jim Brown also. The night that Muhammad Ali beat Sonny Liston,
Yep.
Jim Brown was went and got in the pool, and at the hotel he was staying at, and they drained the pool. Yeah, that is crazy. Like,
I don't
what's your
know.
mentality to do that? Like, to drain the pool because another human being got in the pool. Like,
No.
There's something about being in pools and it triggers that.
I don't really like swimming in pools anyway. I like, if it's not the Mediterranean, I'm really not fond of it anyway. I just did swim team because I was
as kids, we all got in pools or back
right.
in the
As a
day.
kid, my mother made me swim on a swim, so you did it. But when I got older, I was like, a pool, chlorine water? Oh no, not for my skin. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even pools. Like in the Caribbean, they tried to segregate the beaches. Like I know the white people come down with all the money and they build hotels, and they want to put up a wall separating the natives.
They're famous for walls. Don't you know that now? Trump ain't the only one that started the wall thing.
Yeah, but they try to. I mean, this is the ocean.
They don't know we can climb.
Yeah.
What are you saying? They try to do what?
Yeah, what they do, Carl? They try to separate the black natives from
they don't
natives.
want the people that are born in that country to swim in the same area.
Yeah, because it's like we like you.
We're right next to them in the same area. They want, but
they
Jamaica,
do that in Africa too. They do it in
Can we
Africa.
finish?
and they're not allowed to do it in Barbados. The government said no, the beach belongs to no one. Anybody can go anyway. We should be able to walk around the entire island to any beach at any
Good.
time.
Thank you,
But in
God.
Jamaica is different. Jamaica, they allowed them to build hotels and separate beaches and you know what I mean.
Including in South Africa, how you think it became white?
Yeah.
Just saying. Just
Yeah.
saying. And they still do that right now. That's
Yeah, but like Kevin said, what kind of person? I mean,
The
what's
religious
wrong
one.
with you? Which is a reoccurring question on this show. What is wrong with you?
And they're the religious ones. They're the
Right.
religious
You
ones
know?
doing those actions.
Seriously, what is wrong? That's the question. That's the 5 black comment.
You know
question.
why? Because
What is wrong with you?
Because we wouldn't do that. Like
No.
that's why point I try to make about the Dylan Roof thing. Like if we all live to be 100 years old, you're never going to see this on CNN. Some brother walked to a church and killed 9 white people. It's just not going to happen.
Well,
it's not in our DNA to do so.
it's not in our DNA, but we're starting to follow suit of. We're starting to. Some people are
I'm not
getting
saying we're perfect. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
Yeah.
mentally traumatized.
We do our dirt, you know.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. I'm just saying when it comes to racism.
Yeah, we shoot into a crowd of 50 to get one. We killed 49 people till we get that one. There he is. There he is.
You're so bad.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
I got 49 bodies on the ground. The person they're trying to hit still running.
Unfortunately, that's kind of what's happening now when you hear about all the poor people dying because somebody just randomly let off. I'm like, you didn't know who you were going for. Like, why are you killing innocent people? That doesn't make no sense.
Yeah.
Never made sense to me. If I'm mad at you, how do I go and get Dez?
Yeah.
And like, so what was achieved from that? Like,
Yeah.
But then,
all right, we're gonna wrap it up. We want to thank everyone for watching the show today. You know, Desi got to go play soccer with his kids. He's Mr. Dad.
I gotta cut grass, man. I got a little daylight left here in New York. I gotta get this grass cut.
My son scored his first goal this week.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
He's like the Rudy of football. If he scored a goal, everybody went crazy.
And my daughter graduated today from college.
Congratulations.
Yes. Woo, woo. Tati.
When my son was playing that little league basketball, that little, you know what I mean, he was like 7 or 8, and he was shooting and he would miss, and I can see the like how disappointed he was. And when he missed, I used to cry. I used to like, because I wanted him to score so bad. And then one day he made a shot. Because you can see the disappointment, you know, and you know, so that's a secret. So I hopefully
secret that's out. Is that a Barbara Walters secret?
So
I'm not gonna tell anybody.
Thank you for everyone for watching the show. Remember, if you want to be on the show, I'll put the I'll put the link in the chat. You can join our panel. If you have anything that you think you want to say, please check us out on YouTube, subscribe, like, share, all the stuff you're supposed to do.
Share. Yes.
On YouTube, we're trying to grow our audience. Everyone that watches the show loves the show. So we just need to get it out there. And if that doesn't work, we're gonna have Tanya twerking in a few weeks. That's the only way to get views, it seems. I might do some twerking if that helps.
I'll put a little cellulite leg up for you.
None of you guys want to
cellulite leg.
I don't know if you guys want to
a mega church. I want to join. I want that
duck arm for you.
I want some of that Joel Osteen money. I'm quitting comedy, open a church.
I know, right? Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I need to be a minister.
We should start
and then the hurricane comes, you lock the doors. No, we ain't saving you today.
That's it. We'll have the Church of Comics.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget, we gotta find a white church to go to in hoodies.
Well, yeah. Find one.
Oh,
and face mask that says Black Lives Matter. And we just walk.
Just go would be fun.
So you're just pushing it, aren't you?
Hey,
you're just trying to get a shooting, aren't you?
How people conveniently go to bathroom when it's time to pay tithes?
Yeah.
You'd be like, no, you be like
this.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching the show. Please. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know if anybody has any last words that they want to.
Yes.
Tanya, do you have anything you want to wrap up with? Not everyone has.
I want to say congratulations to my daughter Tatiana. She graduated today. Woohoo! Music business. If you need somebody in the music business,
go Tati. Go Tati.
She's the one. She's the one. And get Kevin Lee's book, Playing with Fire.
I was. Play with Fire.
Just saying.
You would look at Kevin differently. I guarantee you.
With your good eye. With your good eye.
Yeah.
It has pictures in there if you can't read.
Yeah.
Me and
I can go get it now.
yeah.
Amazon, baby. Playing with fire.
Me and the Jackson 5. That's my favorite picture of all time. Me hanging with the Jacksons, man.
Right.
Preach. Do you have anything you wanna lead us out in prayer?
I just want to. I'll be leading you out like Jonas Nightingale.
Oh, remember the prayer.
If you don't know, Jonas Nightingale was a character that Steve Martin played in a movie where he was a preacher who were in a town that had a drought, and they used to have like little radio things. So as people were walking in, they was finding out about people and asking older people, "Hey, you want to sit in this wheelchair? We'll bring you down front." So that when he got out and started supposedly healing people, he made people stand up out of wheelchairs and all that stuff. So that still goes on, but we know that, you know, as someone mentioned, Desi mentioned before, you don't have to go to a church because the church is supposed to be inside of you. How you treat other people is what shows people what's inside of you.
Well said. And with that said, thank you all for watching the show. We will see you here next Saturday. And the topic is a secret, so just tune in to find out.
That's right.
I want to say thank you.
We have
Thank you, cousin Russell. You didn't come to me for my closing remarks.
Guys,
Anyway,
sorry, Desi. I thought you were like leaning to the side. So I'm thinking you're trying to get out the theater.
We're not telling them yet, Kev. There's a reason
We
why.
have a show topic call.
But
Yeah,
we can't. We don't want them to know.
Some people, we think some people might be stealing our
People are stealing our stuff, so that's why we don't tell them until right last.
That's
minute.
right.
Really?
Yes.
Oh no, they are. I can prove it.
Yes.
Okay.
Every
so people
time we
stealing
do
our
something,
stuff,
they got.
okay.
Yes. People are stealing our
Got
stuff.
you. So
That's
wow, I
why.
didn't know about that. We got to talk about that at Tuesday meeting. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Which is okay because they can't do it like we can do it, but that's all right.
Go ahead, Desi.
Go ahead, Des.
Oh no, I just wanted to say thanks, my big brother Dennis Taylor for watching, and my cousin Russell, my wife, and my mother-in-law Mima. Love you all. Congratulations to Raiden for his first soccer goal.
All right.
Yeah.
Go, Raiden.
Hey, Gina.
Hey, congratulations. Hey, whoever's stealing our stuff, y'all are the Osmonds. We're the Jacksons.
So thanks again. Let me thank Gina Fiore. Thank you, Karen Francis, Dennis Taylor, Richard Godson. I try to get everyone. Jess Miller. Thank Jess. If you get someone call and they were looking for a comic from Connecticut, and I recommended you. So if you get a call from some person doing the show in Connecticut, some kind of convention or something going on. Desi, I was thinking about you, but they wanted a lesbian. So
okay. I like girls just like lesbians.
Yeah. Norma Staley, Grandma Norma Staley, and we're so glad you. You're like you're also one of our #1 fans.
Yes.
Hope I got everyone. Thanks everyone for watching the show. We really
We're new addition. You're new kids on the block.
Kevin's not done yet.
I know. It's like
if we didn't mention you, we still love you. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
It was Freddie, Sam, Corey, Eric, Philando, Ahmad, Steven, Kenneth, Amadou, Jonathan, Christian, Terrace, Sean. Killed him a day before his wedding. Jamar killed him while he was in handcuffs. Mike killed him while he had his hands up. Kamani, Ramali, Philip, Alton. About 3 Kevins, about 2 Jordans. John, Laquan, Bathon, Stephon, Tony, Tamir, Elijah, Antoine, Isel, Terrell, Dontre, Akai, George. For him, set the country on fire. Timothy, Patrick, Paul, Tyree, Quintonio, Darius, Jeremy, William, Anthony, Dante, Oscar, Kendrick, Keith, David, Walter, women like Sandra, Betty, Rihanna, India, Michelle, Tatiana, Tanisha, Rika, Natasha, Pamela, Janet, Megan, baby Ayana. All that we lost, your name live on. Wasn't killed by a cop, but I can't forget Trayvon. Can't forget Emmett, and all of those we lost to the beast. No justice, no peace.
Nice ending.